wet. So wet.
It is very wet.
So it's good to have my 4 cars in the main TS2.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Been a long time coming. It's been a while. Pull up the championship.
Alright, and we're good. Welcome everybody to round 14 of the Track Stars TS2 series around the beautiful Circuit des Spa Francorchamps, and as myself and Spud P666 were predicting, it's come with a downpour here. Someone turned the sprinklers on, and the sprinklers have bucket loaded a lot of rain onto the circuit. So
I think Bernie Eccleston must have turned on the sprinklers for this round because it is treacherous. It looks horrific to drive on, and I have a feeling it's not going to go away for the rest of the evening, DJ. As we see Robbo Sport having an excursion there, just to show how treacherous the conditions are. My goodness, this is basically a driver's worst nightmare. But if you're a driver like Michael Schumacher, who loves the rain, and a Lewis Hamilton that loves the rain, then you're in heaven. I mean, a lap around this track in the wet is always a handful, but my Italy inspiration for this man, Xylon 96. I don't know if you can see, DJ, on the overview. The top of his car is the replica helmet of the one and only Michael Schumacher, where he made his debut here at Spa in 1991, the famous number 32 that Xylon's running, has been running all series, and Michael Schumacher debuted with the number 32 in the Benetton, and he made his debut 30 years ago to the day, and from what we know, it's been 8 years since his tragic accident that he had in the French Alps, and basically he's been put into a coma, and he's been a very slow progression into getting better, and there hasn't really been much news. The Schumacher family's been keeping pretty quiet on his progress, but we always know, and the whole racing community knows, that we're always behind Michael Schumacher, the legend of Formula One, and we do give our best wishes for Michael Schumacher, and hopefully one day we might be able to see him in person back on a racetrack, as probably not racing, of course, but hopefully back in the paddock.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that accidents like that do happen, and obviously condolences out to Schumacher's family, but that is the dangerous aspect of motor racing here, and it is up to the drivers that they do know that it is a dangerous sport, and along with the joys of the racing, you do have the consequences. So unfortunately for him, hopefully we'll see him out of that coma and around everywhere. So yeah,
it's a nice little tribute that Xylon 96 has got, emulating his hero in Michael Schumacher. So hopefully the helmet on the top of his car gives him a bit of inspiration, because he now needs to find up 46 points to catch up to Little Blacko in the championship. He's second in the championship behind Little Blacko, so about 47 points behind him. So hopefully this round is good, and I've been running laps with Xylon 96, and I can tell you that he is the man. He looks like he is one of the men to beat compared to him and Little Blacko in the championship.
Yeah, obviously Blacko has had a lot of rough runs lately, and Xylon's just been kind of consistent there, but he's done very well to stay up the front, and as we know from the last round, he did have a very nice battle here with Mint Matt around Suzuka, so he did actually finish in front of him at that race, which was a top performance by Xylon. He obviously pulled out a beautiful move on the last chicane there, so that was good to see. And just because Mint Matt might be a GTA Academy winner, he's participated in the Blunt Pain series, which is an excellent job by Mint. It just shows that any driver can compete with a driver of that caliber as such in Xylon 96. So don't count yourself out, no matter who you are. You will be able to battle with, as I'd like to say, the best the best of the best, really. So he's done a really good job, and he's not up the top of the championship for no reason. So there's a reason why Zylan's up the top. So exciting to see what performance he put in around the very moist, very wet Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps.
Yeah, so you can definitely see these guys are just tiptoeing around the track, and they just can't get the full power down just yet. As we see a few more pre-qualifiers coming in. SDRT Mazda from the Shade On Racing Team, so Slayer 1991. Duran 50 was the highest placed driver in the TS2 last time out. Nightwalker 964's come through, and Budsy 76 on debut in the main series TS2, so he'll be looking to put out a great performance that he put out in the pre-qualifying. So we see the 4 MSR Lexus drivers in the main split. So for me as a team boss, I'm very happy to see all my 4 guys out there and having a good time. Little Blackout rounding out the field in the 15th place, just come out onto the track now, about to get his outlap underway, but it looks like he's drifting around Lake Coombe there, so it's going to be very hard for drivers. But the first driver that's come across the line to start his lap is Midman. Like you've mentioned before, all the accolades he's won. 2015 GT Academy winner. He's done the Blancpain series in the Nissan GTR in 2016 and 2017, and he's looking to make a charge here at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps on this very wet, full wet Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. He's coming through Lake Coombe. You've got to brake nice and early, round about that 150 metre board, just before it, just after it, just to get that ideal line through Lake Coombe. Comes through Melmedi into a Brussels corner, which is now turn 10. I called it Rivage, but it was actually changed to Brussels back in 2014, so I've just mixed the names up there. But this name still doesn't have a name. This corner doesn't even have a name. That's why it's called Corner with No Name. So Midman executes that perfectly. He keeps it on the ripple strip nicely, coming up to the treacherous Buon. This is one for the drivers to be brave on. You know, how deep can you go? Should you go wide? Should you hug the inside? It's all about those lines. But Midman's got that line perfect through there. So exiting Buon. Not too much wheel spin on his card. He's doing really well. So he's coming up through the S section still. That's the SS section, sorry. And he's just going to come up towards Stavelot and then before Blanchemont, before the bus stop. So he's got a long way to go. We'll see how his second sector is with looking coming through towards turn 15 and turn 16. Stavelot is coming through right now. That Nissan still tail happy, so he's trying to plant the power down as much as he can, but he just can't do it. But he's just got this nice long straight to think about it. Just think about how he's going to take Blanchemont before he gets to the bus stop, because these are 2 crucial corners here. This one you cannot take flat like we saw in the TS3 earlier on in an hour. So it's just a full lift for Matt there. Just runs a little bit onto the green stuff, so that might dirty his tyres up a bit, and a full heavy braking at the 150 metre board there. Cut across onto the inside for the first sector, and then the second section of the bus stop. What's the time going to be for Midman? We do know it's going to be a fast time, but how fast is Midman going to get the pressure on? It is a 2 minutes 27.5. So wow, great lap there from Midman, and that is definitely one of the lap of the ages for Midman. And Cylon 96 has moved himself up into second place there. So great stuff. So great momentum for Cylon 96 with Sir Slayer in 4th place, JMX in 5th place, Duran 50 has moved himself up into 4th place. And as all the times and drivers coming in, we have to say, what an incredible lap by Matt there, DJ.
Yeah, that's the 227.5, man. And I tell you this much, that I haven't got anywhere near as close to that. But I don't know about you, Spud, but I would definitely rather be racing TS2 around this track than the main series. And I did try to pull a little fast one on its racing and see if we could get the power reduced for us. But he said, if you do and I find out, it's a big disqualification for you. So yeah, it's going to be a very fun one for us.
It will be. It's going to be tough because we have a lot more ponies under the bonnet compared to the TS2 boys, and because with the TS2 they've got a few less horsepower in their car, they can actually get the power down a little bit easier and a little bit better. But for someone like Cylon 96 and 2 at 29.4, that's going to be roughly around the pace that the main series boys are setting up. And I've done some running with Cylon 96, and he tried to do a main series run in the wet, and he managed to get himself a 2 minute 28.6 So it just shows that it just with the caliber, at least with Xylon 96, is just giving him really good confidence because I don't see Little Blacko anywhere on that top 8.
Robbo. See if I can catch this here. What happened with Robbo? Oh, is this coming up, coming straight here into these bends that I don't know how to pronounce properly because I'm Aussie. But looks like he's just missed his braking marker there a little tiny bit. Oh,
looks like he made too much power there.
Yeah, too much power on the exit there.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky there for Robbo, but 9th place or 10th place for Robbo there, so it's not too bad for him, for his sake. But as you see Little Blacko get a lap time in, I'm not so sure. That is in 5th place. So Little Blacko, ladies and gentlemen, when he ran the main series last time out last year, he was actually the winner of the 2020 Spa-Francorchamps in the win, and he won it comfortably ahead of myself and a CB Racing Chris as well. So we see Matt improve his lap time. He's almost down in the 27 flat, so even down into a 26. What about Vipsec? Can he improve his time? He has done, and he's done a great job. And Xylon 96 is definitely not far away from an upset, trying to get within the top 2, I'd say, because he's got one more lap to go. He's got Vipsec ahead of him, and he's going to try and see if he can copy his lines and hopefully get closer towards Viper Z and maybe even snatch a front row.
Yeah, and obviously it might be it'll be good to be on the front here because I don't know about you, but in practice when I was behind another car or another 2 cars, I could not see a thing.
Yeah, the spray is very unreal. Pretty much the simulation of the wet is pretty spot on with GT Sport, and they've done a good job. And Xylon 96 goes personal best there, so that's good. But Duran 50 is right behind him, so it's actually good to see Xylon ahead of Duran 50, where Duran 50 and Xylon had a nice little tussle there back at Suzuka, my apologies. And he managed to do well before Duran 50 had a little bit more overall pace on Xylon 96. So this could be a true test of who's the better driver in the wet between Duran, Xylon, and even Little Blacko in 5th place.
Yeah, as seen Duran 50 come through the first sector there, he was 0.5 up on his personal best, so I didn't see what Xylon's was, but if Duran 50 keeps up this pace, he may get a top 3 start from Xylon, so we'll keep an eye on that. But at the moment, it looks like Matt he's setting the pace at a 227.3, and that is just an incredible time. So he's obviously got his car dialed in here, so precious on the accelerator. See if he can go faster here. No, he's down by 0.3, so it's really hard to get the time back in the wet. So unfortunately for Matt, I think that 227.3 is going to stick for him.
He's 1.2. He's 1.2 ahead of Viper Z. That is absolutely incredible. And these two know how to drive. These two drivers know how to race each other. But to put 1.2 ahead of Viper Z against his main competitor, that's incredible. That's just basically an incredible lap, and that just shows what a top caliber driver Matt is. But we can't disregard Viper Z on his talents as well, as he managed to win, take a clean sweep back at Suzuka. So it'll be still a nice little battle between Matt and Viper Z. But let's hope to see if Viper Z can close that gap on his last run. Can he get closer to Matt? He does do, but he's still over a second there. What about Xylon 96? Can he improve his lap? Can he get further up ahead? No, he doesn't. So this driver here, Duran 50, is the most important one. Can he snatch 3rd place off Xylon 96? He's right behind the spray of Sir Slayer there, but it doesn't look like he's getting quicker. He improves, but not by much. So Xylon takes that position in 3rd place there. SDRT Massler with a half-second penalty there coming across the line. Nightwalker 964 having a good run there. So a few Hondas up there in 6th and 7th place, DJ. So we know how tail happy the Honda is, but with the extra weight that the Hondas have, maybe they might have a bit of an advantage over some of the midfield drivers.
Yeah, hopefully they will see what this is. And I'm getting comments through here from Viper Z. He is saying it is very wet, and he only got in 45 minutes ago, so he doesn't have a setup. So that may be a bit of an advance here for Matt. And also another one here from Robbo here. Time to retire, I'm really, really bad. So it looks like these drivers are definitely not a fan of the wet.
I think that's right there. It's always good to have a bit of wet skill as well, but it's always nice to see just different drivers coming up towards the front there. But not too bad for Robbo to be in 12th place there with Rugworth down in 15th. but still leading the way. We know that we've seen this familiar names all along. DJ Mint Matt versus Viper said first and second place. Xylon 96 in third and Duran 50 in fourth, with Little Blacko right behind Xylon 96. So Blacko's chance to shine in the wet. As we wait for those lights to go out, it is lights out. Green flag racing, very slow start for all drivers. But you look back there, look at Xylon 96. He looks like he's got a great start, and we see a bit of carnage there with some drivers there. Hopefully that is Rugworth there. So a little bit unfortunate for Rugworth. As you see that replay, just too much wheel spin for Rugworth, so very unlucky for him, and he just goes tumbling down the order, and bang, just straight into the wall. As we look back up towards the field, it is Mint Matt still leading the way with Viper Z, Xylon 96 right behind. Nightwalker's done a great job to move himself up into fourth place there, with Little Blacko in fifth place there, JMX in sixth. Duran 50 has dropped down a lot of positions there in seventh place, with SDRT Matt's looking to make a move on Duran 50 for seventh place there. It looks like he's done it very nicely there. So Matt's there in seventh. We've got Duran 50 in 8th. We've got Budsy 76 in 9th place there. So a newcomer to the new face in the TS2 in 9th place with Sir Slayer in 10th. H4M Wallet in 11th place. In 12th place, we've got Mikaz 123, Robo Sport in 13th, Devlin Calypso, and Rugworth after that incident on the first, not even in the first 100 metres, down in 15th place there. But still back up to the front, DJ. Mint Matt's lead the way ahead of Viper Z, ahead of Xylon 96.
Yeah, it's a nice start there, but it looks like the field is kind of broken out just a little tiny bit, so I'll be interesting to see on if the driver does get a little bit hairy, and as I say, that Xylon 96 does get a little bit sideways out of the corner there. So, but another thing to see is Xylon 96 in third, but look who's right on his tail here in the number 14.
So Little Blacko's a little bit of a magician. Is a little bit of a magician when it comes to wet weather racing. He always produces the goods when it comes to wet weather racing. He's done himself a great job to be up into fourth place, and he's keeping his sight on Xylon 96 there. So Xylon's teammates in JMX is behind him in fifth place, with Budsy as well down in ninth place there. So hopefully for JMX, hopefully be able to come through. And Duran 50 has his race has just gone from bad to worse. So slippery there for Duran 50. He can't even get the power down without crashing into a fence there, and he's just avoided that with the smallest amount of contact made on that. So very unlucky there for Duran 50. He dropped down to 10th place there. So a fourth place for Duran 50 to 10th at the end of lap 1. That is not a good start for the CP Motorsport driver.
Yeah, no, exactly. That was a very unfortunate race there. And I don't know about you, but coming into that bus stop there, in the train of those cars with that amount of spray, I couldn't see anything, especially with this train down here in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, even down to 9th.
Oh, Nightwalker's thinking about a move there. He just gets a little bit hesitant on it, but it looks like he's just backed out of that, so he's actually right there. So Nightwalker's got the better traction in his Honda NSX there, and he's just going to go past him into 5th place there. So nice move there by Nightwalker, the first of the Honda NSXs in 5th place there. So great showing for Nightwalker. Didn't have the fastest pre-qualifying, but he's definitely got the race pace, DJ, to be up in 5th place.
Yeah, exactly. But Rouge is very, very, very slippery in these weather. It's just, I can't even explain it. As you see, JMX, he just simply missed his braking marker.
He's just run wide there, JMX. That's very unfortunate for him. He's having a good job in 5th place. He just must have caught. I usually think sometimes when it comes to drivers running that wide, I don't know if it's about late braking. I think it might be just more getting onto that excess tarmac through Eau Rouge, because if you get too much onto the extra tarmac, then you do lose all the traction on your tyres. So, but for JMX, he just burned his penalty there, so hopefully he knows that he has to burn his penalty coming towards the second burn point, but we'll have to wait and see. As we look up still towards the front, it is a Mint Matt leading the way ahead of Viper Z. Xylon 96 still keeping ahead of Little Blacko, but Nightwalker would be the man to keep an eye on if he makes his charge towards Little Blacko. And he actually is closing in a little touch there. And SDRT Master in 6th, with Bugsy having a great performance in 7th place there. So a bit unlucky for JMX to sacrifice his race with just a small mistake. He's now down at 9th place there, followed by H4M Wallet in 8th place there. So not so bad for H4M. And there we go. Duran 50 is down in 10th place, and he's just behind JMX there, and it's just the cars just look terrible to drive at the moment, DJ. I don't know if the rain has stopped or if we're still pouring down with rain.
It's just this rain is just incredible. Like the amount of water that is sitting on the track, it's just incredible. And we got some comments in here from Jarman Dallets. How do I get PD to code wet weather in the game for Bathurst, mate? I don't know about you, but if you code Bathurst for the wet, I'm leaving you to do my stint, mate, because that track is not fun in the wet. But got Vision Video and Gaming here. That is Nismo, who does stream the main series. Yes, mate, this rain is forecast here to be this heavy for the rest of the race weekend.
Yeah, so it does look like the rain's going away, ladies and gentlemen. It is here to stay, but the one driver that is leading the way and mastering these conditions is Matt BCG Racing, car number 89 in his red, blue and white, and basically like an Australian flag on his car there. So up into first place with Viper Z, struggling a little bit like you mentioned there. Just only came in for about 45 minutes just to get some practice lap in. No lap times, no setup. So he's doing a good job to hold on to second place there with Zyla 96. Just the momentum of good runs from Zyla 96. A Little Blacko's right behind in fourth place. So Little Blacko is so.
Mistakes.
Oh, I think he may have a penalty to burn or something coming from that replay, because it looked like Nightwalker's definitely caught up. He has done, and yeah, but Little Blacko is just only behind Zyla 96, so he's losing about 6 points in the championship, but it's 6 points is better than what could be, 100 like it could be better than, it's definitely better than 75 points if Little Blacko all of a sudden had a retirement.
Yeah, the championship is actually really close in this as well, so hopefully Little Blacko can keep a hold of this position, but he does have Nightwalker on the charge. But as soon as they start battling in this, we may see even SDRT Mazda come into play of this, so hopefully they can keep it on the track, and if not, the drivers standing so far may change. But Matt just has that car dialed in, his car control is incredible, and just going through the field it looks like maybe 2 or 3 drivers have traction control on. So I tried racing main series of traction and the car just seemed really slow and really sluggish, so yeah, I don't know about you, Spud, but definitely traction isn't one for me. So
no, I guess for some drivers if we can understand, like, because it is wet weather and you want to keep that car on the track, but in a way that if you have traction control, yes, your car slows down a little bit and you might be able to get a bit more traction in the car, but I always feel like it's a little bit faster to turn it off and just modulate with the throttle, and that way you'll be able to get a lot faster.
Yeah,
so
that spray.
That spray is incredible, and so it's incredible to see. And yeah, like when it comes to traction control, it's always a driver's preference, but we see a lot of drivers that run it without when it's not wet. We even see drivers running traction when it's dry as well. So it's always, these cars are very difficult to drive, not compared to your Group 3 or Group 4 cars, which is a little bit more stable compared to the Group 2s. But in a way, it's always a good driver skills. We see SDRT Mazda closing in very fast on Nightwalker. Is he going to make that move on Lake Coombe? He doesn't, but he just pulls back into it. So good dummy move there from SDRT Mazda, but Nightwalker didn't flinch there, and Nightwalker is still leading the way. As Matt leads the way, see if we can jump on board here, and we might be able to crank up the volume, and hopefully we can get ourselves an onboard lap with Matt.
I need to see the camera. Give me a second. I need to get back here.
Hey, you're all good. There we go. So here's the onboard, ladies and gentlemen. So let's sit back and watch Matt execute these final few corners before the start-finish straight, before our Rouge. So let's sit back and watch a master in Matt 2015 GT Academy Award, GT Academy champion.
Oh, that was close.
He's really pushing that car, but my goodness, it is a nice little onboard there for Matt there. So it's how treacherous it is as well. That like even I know some drivers that do cockpit view and they drive in the cockpit, but driving in the cockpit in the rain, no chance. I would not even do that. Not even my life depended on it.
No, definitely not. Like that's the view, like the view of the track is just so limited with like in this aspect. But obviously you can play around with the settings of that. But it's
well, let's watch Matt coming through our rouge, see how much lift off he actually has to do before he gets to the Kemmel Straight here.
As he comes down here in full throttle, 4th gear, 5th gear, possibly 6th gear.
The car just turns in just the way he wants to. It just looks so planted. For Matt there, just no braking at all. As we see Zyla 96's view, he's about 5.3 behind, he's about 3.6 behind Viper, but he's cleared that margin. And look at that, DJ, I was talking about Nightwalker being a potential threat. Look at that, Nightwalker's actually ahead of Little Blacko there, so he's definitely made the move somewhere that we've missed that, unfortunately, but Little Blacko is coming all sorts under pressure from SDRT Manson, even for a driver like Budsy 76 and a Dram 50. So Little Blacko's got 2.5 laps to think about how he's going to keep 5th place there, because he's got Budsy and Mazda right behind him, and 2 drivers that definitely want to put on a good performance for their team, for their respective teams.
Yeah, it's a nice showing here for Budsy. I need to push the right number to get to him, but he's just on the back of this battle pack here, so if Little Blacko makes a little tiny simple mistake, he'll have Mazda on the back of him, and then if Budsy just keeps it dialed in, keeps it control, he can just sit behind Mazda, follow him along, and unfortunately there's no dry lines being made, so that's...
No, I think the weather is still coming down heavy and it's not making it easy. These guys are not even thinking about going towards intermediate tyres. There is no chance that our drivers are going to whack on some intermediates because it's just too wet.
Yeah, and obviously we don't have progression weather or progression time here. As we see Mazda make a little tiny mistake there, so that puts Budsy right behind him here. So we'll see if he can get a run on him on the back straight.
Catch him on board towards Blanchimont. So as we go on board with Budsy, look at that spray. Oh! We just got that. The commentator's curse has struck again. Well, Budsy was having a great outing there, and we just caught the camera on him at the wrong time. Wrong place, wrong time for Budsy 76. So very unlucky, just too much on the power. Did he catch the curbing? No, he didn't actually catch the curb there. So he just did it all by himself, and that's very unlucky for Budsy 76. So what was going to be a nice position there in 7th place has now dropped himself down to 9th place. As JMX looks like he's on the recovery drive there, up into 8th place there, but SDRT Mazda still got 2.2 to catch up on Little Blacko there, but Little Blacko's catching up to Nightwalker 964 here, so this battle's definitely not over, and if SDRT Mazda stays close enough, he might be able to sneak a 4th place to come down at the race.
Yeah, it's you can't really pick who will finish where, because it's just the conditions are just incredibly sketchy. Just in some places they're just uncontrollable. So it's a solid performance here by these top 3 drivers, as we starting to see Zolan actually keep up the same pace as these 2 drivers. So that's good to see, as Viper runs a little tiny bit there on the white line. So those lines you definitely want to stay off. So
yeah, and you as a racing marshal on the real life tracks, have you ever been to a track where it's been bucketing down with wet weather?
Oh mate, I go to Bathurst, and when you go to Bathurst you can have all 4 seasons in a matter of an hour. So, and another thing is so I'm in pit lane, I can be in there with a poncho absolutely bucketing down. You go to the top and it's bright blue skies, sun's out, everything like that. So it's the Bathurst track is just incredibly unique. I'd say that's probably the best way to put it. But I have been there for a wet race, and it's definitely something to look for.
Yeah, and especially around here, around Spa-Francorchamps, it's the same. It's basically in a way that you can have as many seasons as you want within the hour, like you said. And usually, you got the bottom of this section at Spa could be dry, and then the top of the hill is like very moist and very wet. So it always proves that challenge for drivers when it comes to changing tires, when it comes to those kind of conditions. But look at this, SDRT Master's definitely caught up here. It's a little blacker here, and I want to count out Duran 50. He's a fair way behind. But if these guys are slowing up to each other, that gap from Mazda to Blacko was about 2.5 seconds. So a Duran 50 could definitely close this gap massively if he keeps his head down and makes a charge towards him. So this battle for 4th place is definitely not over. We've got about just a bit under a lap to go, ladies and gentlemen. So with this 4th position is definitely not over as we think about Mazda thinking about making a move on Blacko, but leading the way. And the wet weather master so far in Trackstars TS2 is Matt for the BCG Racing, with Viper Z for Satellite Racing in 2nd place, with Cylon 96 rounding up the podium, and the Total Mash Buds Racing with Nightwalker, the WRT Motorsport entry, the sole WRT in TS2, as he just runs a little bit wide there, and he's just outbroken himself there, so very unlucky. As we see that replay, he's just gone a little bit too deep there, but Little Blacko's dropped back so much there, DJ, and he's in the clutches of Mazda, because it looks like Nightwalker's pulled away. It looks like he's definitely pulled away from Blacko there, so 4th place might be Nightwalker's, but the Blacko, Mazda, and Duran 50 battles definitely want to keep an eye on, because like I said, there is Duran 50, so the battle for 4th place is now turned for a battle for 5th place, DJ.
Yeah, it's definitely not one to count out of Duran. So tiny little mistakes there may bring these guys closer. So we can see Mazda making little tiny mistakes there. So now he's got intense pressure there from Duran 50. So it's
going to go for a switchback on Mazda. Looks like he has made that switchback, but he's going to make a move. No, he doesn't. So he's just a bit too far back. Mazda's got all the pressure now from Duran 50 there, so he's just given a little bit of breathing space for Little Blacko just to control the race and control 5th place. So it's all the battle packs are changing, DJ. It was a battle for 4th, now it's a battle for 6th place. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's just something that's incredible. We'll see if we can jump back here. We've got a battle for 8th between the Toll MSR in JMX and Budsy, and we've got H4M Wallet here, but it's been a good race. But we jump back to the front here with Mint Matt as he comes up to the final section of the circuit to take the win for round 14, race 1 of the Trackstars TS2 Championship.
Mint Matt executing the bus stop for the final time. It is for Mint Matt, the BCG Racing car number 89 Nissan GTR, taking the flag from lights to flag. It is Mint Matt with the victory, so congratulations to Mint Matt with Viper Z. A nice performance there by Viper Z, but it looks like he's just being a little bit outperformed by Mint Matt there. So you see a nice little slide from Viper Z there. It looked like also Xylo 96. He hasn't got a win, but he's happy with the 3rd, and with the flash of lights shows that. And oh my goodness, he's now back into 4th place there. So can Nightwalker hold off Little Blacko? But Blacko thinks about a move, he doesn't do it, and Nightwalker manages to hold on to a 4th place there. So a nice performance there by Nightwalker, the fastest Honda NSX in 4th place there. So take a bow for Nightwalker there, with Duran 50 and 7th, JMX in 8th place with Budsy 76. Well, it was a good performance by Budsy, just a little mistake cost him there. We're down in 9th place there with H4M Wallet in 10th place, with looks like we've got the Robo Sport Racing Boys in Robo Sport in 11th, with Devil and Calypso in 12th, Minkez 123 in 13th, Rugworth in 14th place there. So a very treacherous and very wet conditions for the first race, ladies and gentlemen. And as we see, Rugworth's day just goes from bad to worse there. So I don't even know if he's going to make the finish line, DJ, but Rugworth's day is definitely not what you want to remember.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate there, and I hope that he finishes in time. So, but
yeah,
he's probably not used to the wet. We've seen him try and do a little bit of grass cutting there, and he loses it again, and that's very unfortunate there. So
it's not just going from bad. It's going from bad to worse from Rugworth there. So definitely a race to forget. And we know Rugworth's a very fast driver, but we just think the wet is definitely not suited for him. So I think he's just parked it up. He's just got too much damage on his car. He's going to wait for the timer to go by. Yeah. So unfortunately for Rugworth, didn't make the checkered flag, but the one bloke that made the checkered flag is this bloke. It's mid-map for the BCG race in pole position, fastest lap and a clean race bonus. So clean sweep for mid-map, so congratulations to him and his team at BCG Racing.
Yeah, and he did set a 227.14, so that's just
Wow.
incredible.
Even in a race condition, 227. That is unbelievable. How do you do something like that? And had a couple of retirees there. So Slayer in 1991 looks like he jumped out. He didn't even make the finish there. So we only had 14 completed drivers, 14 drivers completing that race, and so Slayer wasn't a part of that. So very unlucky for him, and he definitely needs to try and get those laps in just to make sure that he's ready for the main series coming up very shortly.
Yeah, and it's 10 laps in these ones, so I wonder if he'll be. Obviously, he's representing the It's Racing Esports camp, so as much as it might suck for him, he will just need to patience it out and get to finish, because there is a fight in the championship there between It's Racing Esports and yourself in the Mashbuds Racing. So I'll jump in one of these cars. I'll jump in the Penrite and chuck the wets on, and we'll just take you for a little bit of a go around this place and see how bad it is.
So you're definitely going to try out the TS2 specs.
Yeah.
Try the inboard and let's see how you go with that.
Oh, here we go, mate.
This is going to be good to watch. So it's definitely, it is treacherous there. Can you report to see if the rain is actually easing, or is it still bucketing down?
Oh, mate, it's still bucketing down. It is definitely very, very bad and so much understeer. Oh, that's just. It's just
That
really
is just
bad.
that's just pure filth for your mind there.
Oh.
So, but yeah, you've just executed El Rouge and Radion, actually coming up towards Lake Coombe here. So he's just navigating that slowly, just gently on the throttle there. He's just
gone.
Oh, he's done a half spin. So. Oh, he saved it though, so good job there, good recovery. So coming out of Lake Coombe, coming through Malmedy, and then up towards turn 10 in Bruxelles, the long left-hander, which feels like an eternity in the wet, let alone the dry. So DJ executing that very nicely, coming up to the corner with no name, but if somebody makes a mistake and it goes wide, just like he's done here, almost went to the barrier there, I would have called it the DJ corner. In turn 11 there.
Oh, that spray is incredible.
They're coming up to the most crucial corner in Puwon, turn 12.
No, gone. Alright, we'll go for a drift. We'll go for a drift.
Oh, it's gone. So executing Puwon, definitely not the way you want to execute Puwon there. And Rugworth's just like saying, get out of here, DJ. You're not part of TS2. But then coming up
God! Oh, I pulled a Rugworth.
That's funny. So yeah, so we can definitely tell how these guys. I don't know how these guys are doing it, but let alone for us coming up very shortly in the main series, it's going to be 10 laps, 3 races for 10 laps here, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a long race for us, and it's going to be one to like master these conditions as quickly as we can, because 3 races in these conditions is going to be very tough amongst all drivers.
Yeah, it's sorry, I'm just trying to focus around here and up run wide. God. This is very treacherous. Like this is incredibly bad, and I don't know how we're all going to go around here in 3 races. So
coming up towards the end of the bus stop, and that is basically a lap of Circuit Spa Francorchamps. So what was an easy lap for you in the dry in the TS3 is now a difficult lap in the TS2, DJ. So you can definitely tell the difference between the track conditions there. So
yeah.
do you kind of wish that you had the dry running like in TS3?
Oh, I do definitely. That's incredibly wet. Like there's just no grip there at all. We'll go 2 minutes.
We'll just sit tight, ladies and gentlemen. Race 2 is about to get underway here at Trackstars TS2 for round 14 for the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps Belgian Grand Prix. So stick around, that race is coming up very shortly.
Jarman, disappointed attempting his best Kimi impersonation, mate. I'll go out and drift this whole circuit in the rain if I have to. You just catch a bit of practice here from Sir Slayer, trying to get a hold of that lethal mid-engine rear-wheel drive Honda NSX. And as we know, each of the cars has their own strengths and weaknesses. So the Honda, compared to the other two cars, it is a mid-engine rear axle, where the other two cars are front-engine rear axle. So sometimes this car benefits in ways, and sometimes the other front-engine cars benefit in ways. So Sir Slayer getting a little bit loose there on the green stuff and just spinning it around, and it's that easy to get rid of it. So as we are getting ready for race 2, let them know that we're starting soon.
And you got little Blacko to jump in the lobby, and I'll jump on the track, and then we are good to go for race 2 at Trackstars TS2. So we're going to place our bets, ladies and gentlemen. Monopoly money. Can Mint Matt go 2 for 2, DJ, or will Viper said try to get that last minute tune in his car and hopefully make a challenge towards Mint Matt?
My Monopoly money is definitely on Mint Matt, but don't rule out Zylan 96 for a second place there. So we're just waiting on Little Blacko here, and then as soon as Little Blacko jumps in, we'll go green for race 2. So.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting race too, and probably maybe the same circumstances with the top 3. But again, it is one. We've already done one race. Drivers are now familiar with the wet conditions, and so race 2 might be a little bit more spicy come towards the end of the 7th lap here. But as we get ourselves underway, DJ's just set the race start to commence in 5 seconds time, and we're about to call the race for Trackstars a TS2 Racing Series. So as we got towards the front, we have Mint Matt leading the way in the BCG Racing Nissan car number 89 with Viper Z a Nissan 1-2 with Viper Z in the Satellite Racing 56. Nissan GDR with the first of the Lexus and Zylan 96 and the first of the Hondas in Nightwalker 964 here. So the top 4 in with the top 3 manufacturers in the top 4 there. So great to see it. Wait for those green lights to come out. It is Mint Matt versus Viper Z. Can Zylan get himself a better start this time out? It is lights out, green flag racing. We've got Mint Matt, a little bit of a tentative start there, but look at Zylan 96, DJ. He's come through very nicely, and Viper Z with the outside move on Mint Matt there. Got a great run and a great exit, and it's now Viper Z actually leading the way as we see contact and carnage in the mid-pack there. Has everyone gone through there cleanly? And anyone gone spinning around? It is JMX there. JMX got caught up in all of that fiasco there. So we see a replay, and look at that spray, DJ. That is absolutely unbelievable. I don't know how you can see from that, but it looks like JMX just ran. He just pressed the throttle too much there, unfortunately for JMX there, and it's just gone. His days have gone from bad to worse there. So very unlucky for JMX. But we did call it. I did call it, ladies and gentlemen. Viper Z's coming out charging. He's putting a last-minute tune on his car and is now leading the race ahead of Mint Matt in 2nd place with Zylan 96 in 3rd, Nightwalker in 4th, SDRT Matt's there in 5th, and Blacko's all the way down in 7th place there, DJ. So that's not a great start for little Blacko.
Yeah, he's starting to go toe-to-toe here with Sir Slayer, and I definitely tell you that the outside of that corner is definitely not one you want to be on. So it's
a nice little recovery drive from Sir Slayer from last place to 7th place there. So from 15th to 7th, that's a good drive for. That's a good start, very good start for Sir Slayer 1991 there. So going toe-to-toe with little Blacko there, who's now promoted himself back up into 6th place there. But this is the battle we want to keep an eye on towards the end. It is Viper Z versus Mint Matt as always. But hopefully for Zylan 96, he might be able to get himself a little bit closer if these guys battle too much here. So one to keep an eye on. But it's still Viper Z leading the way ahead of Mint Matt. We haven't even made the full lap here, and there's already been carnage with JMX getting turned around at the first corner, spinning all by himself there. So just his day just went from bad to worse, but hopefully he can make a good recovery there. Duran 50 in 8th place there, just having a little bit of a slow start himself as well there in the CP Motorsport entry, with H4M Wallet in 9th place and Budsy rounding up the top 10. But it looks like Viperset's just pulled a bit of a gap over mid-map there, so definitely a last-minute tune there. Maybe it came from his his endurance driver teammate. Maybe he threw a teammate, not a teammate. He threw a setup towards mid-map there. So who knows? Maybe giving a little bit of assistance to Viperset DJ.
Yeah, he's definitely a solid driver himself. So I have a lot of faith in Viper. He does have a lot of flexibility in the cars and stuff like that. And I'll jump on board here with mid-map just to see how bad this spray is. It's not quite too bad, so I'm assuming that if they're a lot closer, then it gets a lot worse. So,
and yeah, it's just he's just a little bit of a twitch moment there. So he's definitely trying to get as close as he can towards Cylon, towards Viperset, and Cylon 96 is just a little bit far behind there. It looks like he's had to serve a penalty there, DJ, as he's come through towards El Rouge and Radion. So I wonder how much he actually cut through that, because if he's cut through it a fair bit, yeah, he definitely cut El Rouge there. So good work for Cylon 96 to get rid of that penalty that he's just picked up there. Just moved himself towards the right and bang. So great job for Cylon 96 to serve that penalty there, but it hasn't lost him much time there. He's that gap between him and Little Blacko is opening up massively as Little Blacko promotes himself up into 4th place there. So as we see, Sir Slayer still trying to fight that Honda NSX the way that he should be doing. As Duran 50 thinks about an outside move there, doesn't happen. Does he come back for a switchback? No. So Duran 50 is just going to have to sit behind Sir Slayer unless Sir Slayer makes a mistake here. But nice to see Sir Slayer from 15th to 6th place. That's a good drive for him. That's going to give him confidence for the main series in an hour's time.
Yeah, he has obviously raced previously in place of Gabans, because Gabans is on some military assignment. So we wish Gabans all the best while he is there. Hopefully he's doing very well out there. But yeah, Sir Slayer is filling in for Gabans for the time being. So hopefully this gives him a little bit of experience to get a hold of that very taily NSX around this very wet circuit. As we see Matt here get a little bit of a run on Viper, so this is going to be very interesting to watch coming into the last set of corners.
He's not going to make that move. He tucks right behind him again, so good awareness from Matt. These two definitely know how to race each other here. Viper Z versus Mintmats, but it's advantage Viper Z, and anything can happen within the next 5 laps, ladies and gentlemen, so definitely want to keep an eye on later towards the event. And Silent 96 has just got clear air behind him, and he's just got no challenges towards him whatsoever. But the main concern that Silent 96 needs to have is with Little Blacko. He needs to pray for the other drivers to overtake him, because if he's only losing 6 points to Little Blacko, it's going to help him with the championship, but it's not going to close up and take the lead come the end of this round.
Yeah, it's obviously a very tight championship between these two drivers, and they are very good drivers. But we still have a couple of rounds to go, so I'm not too sure what the standings are like. So there's a little bit of room to move there. So there is a couple of rounds left at the moment, but their drop rounds are included in the current standings. So Blacko has a little bit of leeway there to Zylon 96. JMX is a little bit too far out of the points range there. But you've got
ages, and like I said, his run at Spa tonight is definitely not one to forget for JMX. He had a good run, good start at the beginning of race 1, and now this race 2 is just gone from bad to worse for JMX. So very unlucky for JMX there. Zylon needs his teammates to work together to try and see if they can pull away from Little Blacko and make a bit of a battle for Little Blacko, so it makes it easier for Zylon. But Zylon's just got a lot of hard work to do now, but he's sitting comfortably in 3rd place, well ahead of Little Blacko in 4th place, which I think Little Blacko's definitely got a lot of competition behind him with SCRT, Matster, Duran 50, so Slayer, Nightwalker. They're all line astern with each other, and that battle pack is going to really explode come maybe the next lap or so.
Yeah, it's I can't even pick on who's going to win, because the conditions are just phenomenal. And I don't know about anyone else watching, but if you did see the start of the Le Mans 24-hour around there, it was exactly like this. So you couldn't see a thing. They ended up actually doing 3 laps behind the safety car to race start, so because they couldn't actually see anything. But I think they've got about 5.5 hours to go. But yeah, it's just the conditions are just incredibly bad. Oh, so Slayer here getting a little bit loose there. Luckily he didn't lose it.
Around 50's thinking about a move on SDRT Mazda. He doesn't make that move, so he's just going to hold back, maybe do a little bit of a switch back on Mazda. He does do that, as we see. Look back up towards the front here. DJ is Matt right behind him. He thinks about a move, but he doesn't, so he sticks right behind him. So I think what Matt's doing is just trying to stay close to 5%, maybe pressure him, maybe especially for corners like this, like El Rouge and Radion, to maybe get him a half-second penalty there without any pressure there. But for Zyla 96, has definitely got no pressure at all from Little Black, and he's got himself a good comfortable margin between him, Matt, and Little Blacko there. So Zylan's just going to have to keep his head down, keep the car straight, and secure another 3rd place in the Trackstars TS2. But I think the battle, like I said, the battle pack is between 1st and 2nd, but Little Blacko's definitely got a handful with Mazda and Duran 50 right behind them. Duran 50 still can't find a way past Mazda there. He's just trying to look left, right, front and centre, just trying to get the best run possible. But he can't make that move stick unless Mazda makes a big mistake. But it looks like he's made a little mistake here. Can he get himself close? No, he doesn't. Mazda defends the inside. So very nice driving between Mazda and Duran 50.
Mazda's a very good driver, and I've actually got an ongoing competition with him around who's faster around Laguna Seca in the Mazda Atenza GR3. So, but he's a very fast driver. So is Duran 50. And all of the drivers are very fast here. Mazda runs a little tiny bit wide there. Duran tries to take the move up the inside, but luckily it doesn't pull that off there.
Oh, he's run a little bit wide there. His tyres are going to get a little bit dirty. Does he brake a little bit early just to compromise that? He doesn't. He just drifts wide there. He's just got a power slide there. And can Duran 50 make an outside move on SDRT Mazda? He's holding the line and he's holding the position. He's going to get the inside line before Stavelot, and he has made that move. No, he hasn't. So SDRT Mazda. Wow, what a battle these guys are having between Mazda and Duran 50. Excellent driving, and that's going to definitely bring Nightwalker and Sir Slayer, but those guys are in a battle themselves. So definitely, it's some great racing out there in the wet here, in the treacherous conditions. But these guys are just throwing their glass in the wet weather.
Yeah, it's very nice and very exceptional racecraft here from these drivers. But Kazi, where are the rubber duckies, mate? You can be the rubber ducky technician, and you can hand out the rubber duckies to everyone. But I think we should just go stand out in the rain spot, because then we'll just get a little bit wet and have a bit of a bath, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think there's definitely enough water just to fill a bathtub. That's for sure. Even fill up my water bottle, because I'm definitely losing my voice for the action that's going on here. Look at Budsy 76. He's definitely one of the standout drivers from the TS2 pre-qualifying, just to be up there in the top 10. So it's a nice little performance for Budsy 76 on debut in the main TS2 series. So he's definitely a standout racer, and hopefully one for a bit more confidence come.
Oh, commentator's curse again.
We've just called the commentator's curse on Budsy again. So he is a teammate of mine, but I definitely the one to forget for myself to call his. I wonder if he just caught a little bit, just ran a bit too wide, tried to fix it up, and yeah, was a little bit unlucky there. But he's managed to hold it straight there, so all hope is not lost for Budsy 76, but still in the top 10, well ahead of JMX there. But looking back at the front, Viper Z versus Matt, ladies and gentlemen, it is still this battle that is raging on between these two top caliber drivers here, and Viper Z's doing a great job. So that 5-minute break that he had to maybe throw in a quick tune in his car is definitely paying off for Viper Z.
Yeah, he obviously has a lot of experience in that aspect, because coming into the Enduros, it will be a lot of testing between the two of us just to see how we go. But it just shows that he can tune on the go. So if he's obviously something's not right with the car, he can go into the settings. But he's kind of put a little bit of a gap here to Mint-Matt, but they're slightly starting to pull away. Obviously Mint-Matt isn't as fast as what he is in the first race with the fastest lap of 2:28.8. So.
Exactly. So he's definitely got, well, definitely Mint-Matt's, I think it might have just been caught off guard by Viperzet's performance there. So, Viperzet's start there. So just Viperzet just hasn't looked back here, and if my bets are good, then Viperzet might run away with the victory here. But he's definitely going to have a bit of a battle to keep his mate in Mint-Matt in the second place there, with Silent 96 in third place, with Little Blacko not challenging Silent 96 at all, and he's got no challenge himself at all. So Little Blacko's holding on to fourth place and is only going to compromise a little bit in his championship there. But looking back at DJ, good pick up there. Looks like Duran 50's made that move on Mazda, and he's made that move very nicely there. So Duran's now promoted himself back in the top 5. So for what could have been a good performance for Duran 50, but definitely the wet conditions doesn't suit the CP Motorsport driver.
He's a strong driver overall. But obviously, being a driver, you need to kind of accommodate to all the conditions. So he's kind of gapped Mazda here, as you see Mazda kind of burn his penalty there. So that's very good by Mazda there. But he's got to be careful on the re-entry here for these two drivers as well. So Slayer burning one as well. So nice awareness there by all parties concerned. So it's good to see. H4M Wallet here now harassing the back of Sir Slayer. So maybe he might be able to get a top 8, which is very. He's actually been a very standout driver lately. He's kind of come from the shadows, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, well, he's definitely made his presence felt in the TS2 pre-qualifying to qualify in the main race, and his standout performance back in Suzuka last time out was really good to be in 5th place there. So he managed to get himself in the top 5 at Suzuka, and he's been showing some good performances, H4M Wallet, and he just needs to keep that consistency and maybe find a little bit more pace in his Lexus to move himself maybe further up towards the grid, maybe even just outside the top 5. But for these guys, unfortunately, for the Robo Sport camp, unfortunately for Robo Sport and Mick has 1, 2, 3, what just goes from bad to worse, and their championship pursuit is definitely not what they wanted coming for this race, because unfortunately for them, they're just lonely down in 12th and 14th place there. But I did see we are missing one driver there, and I believe that is Rugworth. So Rugworth has definitely not been able to complete his second race there, so that's a little bit unfortunate for Rugworth, and just definitely not the race that he wants to remember. Unfortunately, with him being 4th place in the championship, it's definitely a race to forget for Rugworth. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, last lap here. It is Viperset in the number 56 NSX GTR. Not NSX, that's the Honda, my apologies, the Nissan GTR, with Mint-Matt in 2nd place in the 89 BCG Racing GTR. So definitely, Viperset's doing a really good job to hold off Mint-Matt. He hasn't been under pressure at all. So if all things stay as they are, looks like Viperset is going to hold out for 1st place there. But it is the last lap, and it is a wet track. So DJ, I'm not so sure how the race is going to finish come the end of the 7th lap.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the fence with you there. So being a wet race, and as we say that, it looks like Viper goes a little bit wide into that corner there. So it's definitely very, very wet. So as everyone can probably see, and they have seen for the past 15 minutes, but the race isn't over yet. We do know that Mint-Matt can make a solid move stick into the last corner. But Viperzet is an exceptional racer in himself as well. So he will be definitely defending that position, and if it was me, I'd kind of want to go on the outside of the first corner into the bus stop, so that way I'm on the inside, but it may obviously come down to the situation. So as they're halfway round, see Viperzet putting on a little bit of a show there, going sideways, gapping out to Mint-Matt by 0.4 there. So but it's definitely going to be one to watch towards the end.
Worse, he's just gone a little bit sideways through the S section for the final time as it's coming up towards turn 15, turn 16, coming towards Stavelot. So Matt's a lot closer here, so he needs to get that draft in, but the draft is going to compromise with a lot of spray here. So who gets the best exit out of this one? Oh, it looks close. I think Viperset's just got a better exit ahead of Mitmat's there, so I'm not so sure. I think Mitmat's just going to have to throw in the towel here. Well, he definitely needs a towel after that event because it's definitely a sweat fest, and it is a wet track. It is a wet track as well, so it looks like he's just going to throw it in. Look, yeah, and he's just got tail happy there. So Viperset just has to keep his nose clean, just make this corner stick, and make sure he doesn't make any mistakes on this vital section of the bus stop. But if it's all clean, it is. Congratulations to Viperset for the satellite racing team. Car number 56 takes out the victory ahead of Mitmat in second place there, and Xylon 96 another nice third place for Xylon 96 with a nice personal best as well, with Little Blacko in fourth place there. So the wet weather master Little Blacko holding his own in fourth place there, but he's just lost 6 points behind Xylon 96 there, with Duran 50 stealing a top 5 there for the CP Motorsport. So a nice recovery drive for Duran, with Night Walker promoting himself up into 6th place. So that's a nice little drive for Night Walker there, as we see HRM Waller go for a bit of a spin towards the checkered flag. Budsy 76 in 9th place, with Sir Slayer dropping down into 10th place there after a few little mistakes there. Looks like JMX is coming outside in 11th place there as he's crossing the line. Yep, in 11th place, RoboSport, a lonely 12th place for RoboSport, with Devlin Calypso in 13th, and Mikaz 123 got a long way to go, and he's still spinning. I think he's just giving up. He's just doing donuts here, DJ, just for show.
Yeah, I mean he's kind of that far back. By the time he gets around the circuit, I don't think he'll end up making it. So why not, mate? You got some wets to burn. Go on, son.
They're putting on a show there, but as we see his teammate RoboSport crossing the line in 12th place, Devlin Calypso, the sole international in the Trackstars TS2, in 13th place there. So that's the top 13, with Mikaz rounding up the 14, but he's definitely not going to make the finish line there. So I don't know about you, the AI cars are definitely going to catch up towards him, because you can see Viperset coming up. But I wonder is he going to get lapped here? That would be quite funny if that happens. But it's a big congratulations to Viperset and Mitmat there. So great performance by these two drivers. And as we see there, yep, he's going to get overtaken by the AI. So that's definitely a funny thing to see there. So Viperset with the victory, with Mitmat in second and Cylon 96 in third place there. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We have got our victor. It is Viperset. If for taking the clean race bonus for the satellite racing, car number 56 takes the line honours and the checkered flag. And congratulations to all drivers and to all the team in satellite racing, with Viperset taking out a nice victory there in first place, just holding off his mate in Matt in second place, with Xylon 96 2 for 2 for third places with Xylon 96, and crucial points for his championship quest to overtake Little Blacko in the championship.
Yeah, solid performance there by Xylon to get that third place outright. And Viperset and Mintmat will finish on the same amount of points, but Mintmat will get that first place for the round because he did qualify on pole. So if you end up getting the same points for the round, whoever qualified in front will proceed. So unlucky there for Viperset, but he did very well to fend off Mintmat in that second race. So congratulations to a 1-2 for Mintmat and Viperset, and obviously Xylon 96 rounding out the podium. So solid as well there for Little Blacko in the GDR. So very wet race around this.
A very wet race indeed, but unfortunately what it's going to be is it's still bucketing down, ladies and gentlemen, so you're going to have to brace yourselves because the main series is coming up in an hour's time. And on behalf of us in the commentary box, myself, Nsput P666, Nick Patasso, and DJSX Pointed in Ryan Palmer, we wish you guys a very good evening. Stay tuned in an hour's time for the live coverage of the EBM Trackstars Touring Car Series, sponsored by Elite Brake and Mechanical, our naming rights sponsors for the Trackstars Touring Car Series. So stay tuned for that. But on behalf of us and the TS2 drivers, we will see you guys in the next week.